So if you ever look at a massive wall of screens in a sports bar, all playing different games, do you ever wonder why it doesn't just crash into a giant digital pileup?
Right, like a tangled mess of cables.
Exactly. But behind that wall isn't a mess at all. It's an unseen piece of infrastructure called a matrix switcher.
Which is what we are digging into today.
Yes, for this deep dive, we're looking at a technical spec sheet from HDTV Supply for the Intelix INT-PS82-H2 seamless presentation matrix switcher.
Yeah, that is a mouthful.
It really is. But our mission is to decode all that heavy-duty AV jargon. We want to figure out exactly how these commercial powerhouses wrangle digital chaos. I mean, how do you get 8 different video sources routing to multiple screens simultaneously without the whole system choking?
Well, it comes down to active signal processing. Once you move from a basic home setup to a commercial space, you are no longer just pushing a video feed down a pipe.
Right.
You are managing a network of high-bandwidth data.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because a standard splitter is basically just a megaphone, right? It takes one signal and shouts it at multiple displays.
Yeah, exactly. Just cloning the image.
Right, but a matrix switcher is more like an active telephone exchange or like an ultra-smart switchboard operator. It reads the address of the incoming data, actively translates it, and privately routes any input to any specific output independently.
And what's fascinating here is the fundamental industry divide our source material points out. You have fixed versus modular switchers.
Yeah, what's the difference there?
So if you are outfitting a massive stadium, you are going to use a modular chassis. Those systems use swappable cards to build massive matrices, scaling up to an insane 80 by 80 grid of inputs and outputs.
Oh, wow, an 80 by 80 grid. That is intense, but I guess not every room needs to coordinate 80 screens, right?
Exactly, which is why fixed units exist. This Intelix 8x2 model is a fixed box. It provides robust plug-and-play reliability for a specific room where the footprint, like 8 inputs and 2 outputs, isn't going to suddenly change.
So it just removes all that massive overhead of a modular system.
Yeah, it's just much more practical for smaller setups.
Okay, but routing the video doesn't really matter if you can't actually plug your device into the box. Looking at the back of this Intelix unit, it literally looks like a tech museum.
Oh, totally.
Right? Like it has a modern USB-C port sitting right next to a legacy VGA port. I mean, I haven't seen a VGA cable in a decade. Why is a $3,000 piece of cutting-edge tech bothering to support 20-year-old inputs?
Well, think about the chaos of a modern conference room. You never know what a guest presenter is going to bring.
That's true. But if I have an old laptop, why can't I just use a cheap $20 dongle to convert it to HDMI?
Because cheap dongles introduce points of failure. In a high-stakes corporate environment, you want the hardware doing the heavy lifting, not some flimsy adapter.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so one person has a brand new MacBook needing USB-C, and the next brings an ancient desktop that only outputs VGA. This unit acts as a universal hardware translator. It standardizes all that chaotic input into a single digital language.
Okay, and I guess that is the secret behind its seamless switching. I noticed that term in the specs.
It is, yeah.
Because usually when you switch inputs on a TV or projector, you get that dreaded 3-second black screen while the display searches for the new signal. How does this box actually bypass that?
It bypasses it by employing a built-in scaler. It keeps all connected video inputs continuously hot,
Wait, what do you mean by hot?
It actively computes and scales every incoming signal to match the exact resolution and frame rate of your output display.
I see. So the output signal never actually changes its format.
Right, and because of that, the projector never drops the image to resync. The jump from an analog VGA signal to a 4K USB-C feed happens instantly.
Wow. That completely changes how I think about this. It's not just a fancy cable hub. I mean, it's basically a dedicated computer actively managing the feed.
Absolutely. It is actively processing everything in real time.
And speaking of the feed, the specs highlight its 18G HD-based output. Now, I know standard HDMI cables start to degrade and lose signal integrity if you run them too far across a room. How does HD-based solve that distance problem?
So HDMI cables degrade quickly because they send raw, uncompressed data streams.
Right, all that heavy data.
Exactly. HDBaseT works by taking that massive 18 gigabit bandwidth of 4K video, audio, and control signals and packing it into micro packets.
Okay.
Those packets are then sent over a standard Cat6 Ethernet cable. It's a medium specifically designed to retain data integrity over long, twisty runs inside walls.
Wait, seriously, so it's pushing full 4K video over a standard internet cable?
It is. By doing this, the Intelix can deliver pristine 4K video at 60 frames per second up to 40 meters away.
That is impressive.
And if you drop the resolution to 1080p, it can push that signal a massive 70 meters.
Man, so what this really means is that modern AV infrastructure is less about extending cables and more about real-time computation.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it.
I mean, whether you are prepping for a corporate IT upgrade or just trying to understand the wizardry behind a massive sports bar, it's this kind of heavy-duty active translation that keeps the digital traffic flowing smoothly.
It really is the unseen intelligence that makes complex display environments completely invisible to the user. You just see the game.
Exactly. Which brings up a fun thought to leave you with. Think about your own house right now.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right? With the average household juggling multiple gaming consoles, streaming boxes, and PCs across various rooms, how long until commercial-grade matrix switching becomes a standard built-in appliance in the everyday smart home? Next time you're untangling a mess of cables behind your TV, just imagine having an active digital exchange handling it all for you.